My name is Courtney Jones, and I am McKinney-Vento Liaison in Clover, South Carolina. I am going into my second year in the role after 18 years as a school social worker. Three things that I believe you should know, or first things you should do in becoming a McKinney-Vento liaison. The first thing is to try to get some training. There are things I thought I knew as a school social worker, and then get into the role. There are just so many aspects to the McKinney-Vento law that I had to learn, and the training opportunities were a blessing. That was through Schoolhouse Connection, different opportunities to learn different things. Another thing I would suggest is to assess your supports within the district to figure out how your school counselors may be engaging, your school social workers, developing relationships with your finance department, transportation. All these key players are very important to help you fulfill the obligations to your role as a liaison. You want to think about your Title I coordinator, your community-based organizations. We have a local organization called Clover Area Assistance Center. They help with rental assistance, food. So I've been in conversation with them too, because that's a point of identification as well, where parents go to receive services. So utilizing them, but now, hey, how do we target directly to the students? One thing that I'm really proud of, we have this organization called Mayday Project. They give scholarships to our McKinney-Vento students. So they're waiting to be there to eliminate the tuition costs or pay for the books. All those individuals will help you in fulfilling your duties. The last thing I would suggest is really developing relationships with other liaisons. And that was really huge for me. Mentors, I have some trusted people who are in neighboring districts. I communicate with our state coordinator as well. All those individuals have really helped me. The thing I wish I would have known was the importance of having a calendar of events. And this really showed itself as we got into the holiday season. Returning from the holiday season in January, I had lost about 10 students who were displaced and they had moved to neighboring districts. Schoolhouse Connection had a sample calendar of events. And I was thinking, well, that would be very helpful, particularly as you get into November and that holiday season, and putting out information about where they can go, if they're going to move, who are the contacts, things like that, to make sure that we are connected still to the families and making sure they still have the resources they need, and also the connections to get into the new places where they may end up. When you hear homelessness, that word can be jarring to people. Sometimes saying homelessness seems like a judgment statement. So you find out what is the sensitive language for families too, to say, okay, well, hey, it sounds like your family is going through a transitionary period. They can see that as a relational kind of question and statement, to where they're more willing to open up. And then you're able to then explain what the educational rights are for them and their child. Sometimes families, particularly if students are on their own or they had to move in with someone else, they're not so sure about if they are allowed to enroll. So the good thing is helping them get connected with the school setting. And then at the same time, you're assessing their needs. I appreciate opportunities to take students on field trips. I was doing that as a school social worker, and I would target our McKinney-Vento high school students. Immediately, once I meet them now, I'm able to give them their letters so they have it right away. I want to make sure they have it. I also mail them a copy so they have that as well. At the point of identification, I tell them what their rights are. And actually, I ordered some folders. Their rights are on the folder too. So then I put the cards in there and I explain it, make sure they have it. Hey, keep this for, important documentation in the event that you have to move to another district. Just educating them of their rights. Absolutely. My words of advice would be to realize that you cannot do it alone. Thinking about my previous role as a school social worker, I was working with a set group of students at a particular school, and I didn't realize how vast it is when you consider the other schools that may be in your district, and then how important the identification piece is. That's really our main thing to identify. And it's very hard for us to do it as a liaison. So we really needed our enrollment staff to really help drive that, listen for key words and things that people may say, just looking out for different things, signs that we typically may notice, but we don't necessarily connect what a student may be presenting to something related to homelessness. A lot of times we had been reactive in responding to our McKinney-Vento students, but as you develop, you'll eventually learn to be proactive to assist your families. So those kind of things I would really recommend, just realizing that it's going to take a team. You're going to learn some things, you're going to miss some things, but use those opportunities in a way that's going to drive yourself to grow, develop a program. People have a certain idea of what homelessness looks like. Educating that homelessness doesn't necessarily mean they're totally without residence and they are on the street. It can be a situation where they're well off and a natural disaster has come. That's still homelessness. Even though they may have a place that they've ended up, they're temporarily displaced. So really having knowledge about all the different phases and the range and scale of what homelessness may be.